Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about multiple storms in the tropics with Gamma and soon to be Delta. And we also have two hotspots brewing in the Atlantic. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated, and definitely share with your friends on social media that are going to be impacted from these storms. So let's kind of delve into it. What you're looking at right now is the overall outlook for the National Hurricane Center. We've been talking about Gamma for several days now. It's just now coming off the Yucatan. It was really getting its act together yesterday. It made landfall as a strong tropical storm, 70 mile per hour, 980 millibars. So basically right on the cuff of a hurricane. And now it's coming off the Yucatan Peninsula. And then we have this other hot spot that now the National Hurricane Center gives an 80% chance of developing. So this will be named Delta just about any time now. And then we also have two hot spots that are brewing in the Atlantic. So we've got a lot to talk about. If we take a look at the overall satellite picture, we can see Maria. That was a category 4 out in the Pacific. And like I was mentioning, a lot of the convection with Gamma was going to be on the north side. So I wasn't, that's what I was saying. Don't get too concerned in the exact center because a lot of the impacts are going to be well away from the center. And you can see the center is basically just north of the Yucatan, and all the convection is well to the north, spreading into Florida, into the southeast. And down below is this other hot spot that will be Delta coming up probably the next day or two. So I'm definitely looking for this area. This is where the National Hurricane Center has an 80% chance. And this other little feature here could be Epsilon. And then another little feature too. So there's a lot to talk about. We had a lull in the tropics, but it's coming back in a big way over the next couple weeks. And this pattern that is coming up, which I'll show you towards the end of the video, is setting the stage for something potentially major coming out of the tropics. But I wanted to take a pause and let you guys know I'm super excited. I now have my own rain gauge on Amazon, the Pal Ponder on Weather rain gauge. You can actually order it. And I created a URL, which is tinyurl.com/Pal rain gauge. You can go on Amazon. You can click. I have free shipping for anywhere in the United States. You know how Amazon is. You basically get it the next day. So go check that out and help support the page. But back to the tropics, and here's Gamma. So what's going to happen here is it's going to make a beeline southeast. Now this is the official track of the National Hurricane Center, and you can see it's not really going anywhere anytime soon. This is Friday, but down in the Bay of Campeche. So this storm is going to be in the Gulf, and we're going to be talking about Delta that's going to come up as well. So it could have potentially 2 storms in the Gulf by the middle of next week. So there's definitely a lot to talk about, but this is the overall track from Gamma is to swing it southeast, but there's still some models, even when it pushes down to the southeast, could lift it up northward again. So there's a lot of dynamics going on. Here's the overall global guidance as well as the hurricane guidance models of Gamma. And you can see, yes, the official track does take it down to the Bay of Campeche into essentially the Eastern Pacific. But there are some models still implying that around day 4 or 5, it could start to lift back up again and go back into the center of the Gulf and possibly go back in the southeast. So that option is not off the table with this storm, and I'll show you the reasons why. Later on in the week, we've got a developing ridge. It's been really cold down in the southeast. A ridge is building in, and you can see we have another cold shot diving in the northeast. This is by midweek. But what's really concerning is what actually happens after that. This is the 500 millibar pattern. If we take it to the next map, we kind of show that low pressure swings off the northeast coast, and a developing ridge really deepens over the northeastern, over parts of Canada, as well as a trough. So this is a classic setup for prime time development down below, with higher pressures to the north, lower pressures underneath. You get divergence. This is the classic setup for October of something big that potentially come out of the tropics. We saw this with Michael. We saw this with Matthew. There's a history of storms in October with this type of setup of something big coming out of the Gulf or the Caribbean. So we definitely have to be watching for this potential later on by the end of the week of something developing. And like I said, with Delta being in the center of the Gulf and Gamma out of the way, it could really set the stage with this type of setup of really getting its act together and developing into possibly a bigger storm. So here's the overall outlook from the what is now Invest 92L. So here's the latest computer models of the European as well as the GEFS. You can see most of them pretty much take it in the central Gulf of Mexico and then eventually swings it off to the northeast, with that impact from the trough coming in from the northwest and the high pressure to the northeast. So this is a classic setup. We've got more members of the GFS model implying pretty much the same thing. Now, if we take a look at the overall guidance from 92L, pretty much implies the same thing. Overall, then, now this just initialized because it just was named an Invest. So there'll be many more members that's going to be on this in the days to come. But at first glance, this puts you in a pretty much congruent path of right in the heart of the Gulf of Mexico by the middle of next week. And then eventually that trough will be impacted and then possibly swing up to the northeast. So we have to see if this thing really kind of gets its act together. Some of the global models are pretty impressive with this storm, taking it all the way up to a category 4 with one model. So there are some members that even take it up to a major hurricane category 3, but the consensus is this is definitely going to be a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, and we definitely have to watch this pattern. I'm really concerned about that high pressure setting up in the northeast of that really deepening convergence. We'll just have to see. The canary in the coal mine is Gamma in the Gulf and how that's going to influence Delta with potential strengthening into a major hurricane later on in the period. So we'll have to definitely watch out for that. And here's the overall guidance from the EPS guidance from these two storms over the next 10 days. And you can see all the hot spot is pretty much in the central Gulf of Mexico. So there's going to be a lot going on this week. This is prime time development for tropical storm development over the next 10 days with this type of setup. And this is not what you want to see in the Gulf. So definitely be looking out for two potential name storms in the Gulf of Mexico over the next 10 days, having impacts for the southeastern part of the U.S. So, hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you found value in this video, please leave your comments below, and definitely subscribe to my channel and catch my winter outlook that I posted yesterday as well at the end of the video after you see this one. So I appreciate you guys watching, and definitely catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.